I just watched my discussion where Nicola came in and we talked about the ether of space, and I wanted to clarify a couple of things for the sake of the conversation. Now that Nicola's gone, yeah, he's gone. Um, my point regarding the speed of light and the speed of gravity through space, which is something that is yet unproven, is that it is an exchange within the matrix of the ether of space. It's an exchange, a particular exchange, as these waves step from element to element through space. That is, I believe, what governs the speed of light in space. It is very important because it flies contrary, and Einstein has said this. He's incorrect in his statement. His statement was, roughly paraphrasing here, that the theory of relativity was without worth if the ether of space existed. And that is not true. The theory of relativity is absolutely valid. There are some mathematical issues with uh, probably the speed of light being used squared. It's just such a big number that one of those big numbers will work, but I personally wonder if it's the right number. But my point is that the speed of exchange, if you imagine these photons going from resting point to resting point, the excitation, the overburdening, and then the step. That in space is what we call the speed of light, I believe. The other thing that I wasn't clear about is the bending of space around a mass, which was proven in the experiments shortly after World War II, where we telescopically looked at stars displaced around the eclipsed sun. What is actually happening there is, I believe, this influx of the ether into masses, great masses, does indeed pull that. And the way that it's pulled to create that offset is that the photon exchange, which should be linear normally through this matrix in a three-dimensional array, is not linear. Because the photons have mass, they're pulled off a bit as they step around, and that creates the perceived curvature. So I know that I disagree with a lot of things that are believed by a lot of people who are probably smarter than I. Heaven knows it's probably not a real productive thing to question Einstein nor Tesla, two of the greatest minds in the history of the world, along with Copernicus and many others. I mean, many others, but most of it is small in nature. You get guys like Tesla and guys like Einstein, and to maybe a lesser extent, God, so many of them, so many Bell and Schrodinger, and these guys are amazingly brilliant minds, but because of the difficulty of the thought, they each take a piece. And Schrodinger took a few pieces. I will say Schrodinger's a brilliant guy, and there are brilliant guys around now. I don't keep up on the thoughts of everyone else like I probably should, but I wanted to explain the theory of how this complies with existing experimentation, and how this concept of particular exchange for the waves of energy through space works with existing experimentation that has been proven time and again. Thanks very much, and thanks so much for listening to this. I'd appreciate your comments very much, even if you disagree with me. That's perfectly all right. You're allowed to disagree with me. Of course, I'll bring Einstein in, and he'll attest to what I believe. I know he will. Um, but other than that, I'd appreciate your thoughts. Also, I'd appreciate your corrections for what I really would. I don't want to be thinking things that are in error. But for what it's worth, that's what I believe, and hopefully it'll get other people thinking. Thanks so much.